all of us have a special disease called I am right disease. Sorry, I am using this word, but it is very, very important, and actually speaking, it is a disease. What is that disease? I am right. When we just get cured of this disease, there are a lot of problems can be solved in our life. Now, when it comes to our mistakes, we immediately become lawyers. What does a lawyer do? He argues that we are right, I am right. So when it comes to my mistake, I become the lawyer. But when it comes to others' mistake, I immediately become a judge. I don't become a lawyer, but I become a judge. Very important aspect of our life. Please think about it. Sometimes we form our opinions in a fraction of a second and abandon others' opinion rest of our life. I have so many examples to give. Many times in our relationships, you can just find out in your family and friends, just because of one small fight, they break the relationship. They completely get rid of the person throughout the life. Just think about it, and with cool and calm mind, when we think it is just a small mistake. So people have fought for 20 rupees and they killed, they murdered the other person because they could not handle that spur of the moment. So it requires a lot of maturity and cool mind to make decisions. Therefore, it is better, it is very important point, please listen carefully. Therefore, it is better to admit that I am wrong and actually be right, rather than insisting I am right and actually be wrong. Very important point, I'll repeat. It is better to admit that I am wrong and actually be right, rather than insisting I am right and actually be wrong. So from scriptures, we understand there are three modes of nature. All of you know about this. There is Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So in English we call mode of ignorance, mode of passion and mode of goodness. Now, the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very beautifully explains what is the nature of a person who is in mode of ignorance. So a person who is in mode of ignorance is always attached to sleep and laziness. So most of the time, people who are sleeping, who are lazy, they come under the category of the mode of ignorance or tamoguna. And what is the characteristic of people who are in mode of passion or rajoguna? They always want wealth, money, possession, power. So people who are attached to these things, they come under the category of mode of passion or rajoguna. And then very interesting is people who are under sattva-guna, mode of goodness, they are attached to their opinions. They don't want to compromise. They don't want to admit that I am wrong. So here in Vali and Sugriva's story, we are not discussing about some ordinary people. Ordinary people, they behave in their own way. But here we are discussing about two great people. I think most of you know about the background. So for your information, Vali was not a demon. Vali, he was a great devotee and expansion of Indra. Indra is a devata, he is the head of all the devatas. So Vali was not an ordinary person. And what about Sugriva? Sugriva is also an expansion of Surya, Surya Dev. He is a son of Surya. So we are discussing not about two ordinary people, we are discussing about two extraordinary people. That is expansion of Indra and expansion of Surya. So we should not pass judgment about anybody immediately. So I'll tell you two case studies. Now we see if somebody is oversleeping. So 7 o'clock he is still sleeping, morning 8 o'clock he is still sleeping, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock still sleeping. And whenever we see that kind of person, what do we say? He is lazy, he is from a Kumbhakaran family. So we actually laugh at him. We say he is sleepy, he is lazy, he is Kumbhakaran. Friends, just imagine, if I am sleeping, what do I say? I don't say I am Kumbhakaran, I don't say I am lazy, but I say I am tired. I was tired. So if somebody oversleeps, we say he is Kumbhakaran. If I oversleep, I say I was tired. But we don't give benefit of doubt that he is also tired. But immediately we judge the other person. So coming back to my point, for others I become judge, for myself I become a lawyer, and I give my arguments why I am doing what I am doing. So let us see another case study. In the second case study, we understand if somebody is overeating, what do we say? He is a glutton. He overeats too much. He is also like a Kumbhakaran. But when I overeat, I say I was hungry. So we don't give benefit of doubt that the other person also may be hungry. So that's why he is overeating that day, but we immediately judge. He is a glutton. But when I overeat, I say I was hungry. Hope you are getting my point, what I am speaking here. I'll tell you a personal story, what happened in my life. So I had a neighbor, one elderly lady. She was the owner of my house. I was a tenant in her house. So one day morning I came out, she was buying vegetables, and I smiled at her. And I was expecting a smile in return. But she didn't even acknowledge my presence. I felt very bad, I felt offended. But I thought she is an elderly person, it's okay. So I just tolerated myself. Again, on the next day, again I saw her, again I smiled at her. But no return. But again, she didn't even acknowledge my presence. I seriously got offended and I took a vow. I decided from today onwards, I will never speak to her. Even if I see her, I will never smile, I will never greet her. And I stopped talking to her. It was almost like a relationship got cut. And after many months, and many times I got opportunity to meet her, talk to her, but I didn't do it because I was offended. After many months, her son came to me and he wanted to seek some help, and I was talking to him, and during that conversation, he said, "My dear sir, my mother has an eye problem. She cannot see things closely." And I knew that she was wearing a very thick glass and she had a sight problem. When I heard that story, when I heard the reality, I felt very bad. Actually, tears in my eyes. Then I was thinking, what a mistake I did. It was judgment without understanding. I was thinking she doesn't even greet me, she doesn't smile at me, she doesn't even acknowledge my presence. But the problem was she was unable to see a person who is close to her. So I felt relieved. At the same time, I felt very bad about myself. Friends, this is what happens when we judge a person without proper understanding. So my request is, please don't jump to conclusions. Don't judge the person until and unless you have a clarity or a clear understanding. So the same thing what Vali did here. So it is the same situation. We give ourselves a benefit of doubt and we don't give benefit of doubt to others, but we quickly judge the person. So when situation comes like this, we should not judge, but at least give a benefit of doubt. He may be right or he may be wrong. So once you give a benefit of doubt, mind gets an opportunity to think and to seek clarification. Very important point. Now, it is said we need courage to stand up and speak when others make mistake. At the same time, we need courage to sit down and listen when we make mistakes too. Very important point, I'll repeat. We need courage to stand up and speak when others make mistake. At the same time, we need courage to sit down and listen when we make mistakes also. It requires a lot of maturity and internal strength to understand that I may be wrong. Because our mind always thinks that I am always right. That's why I call it as I am right disease. So to come out of this disease and to understand that I may be wrong, it needs a lot of strength, it needs education, it needs training and maturity. So please think carefully, please analyze situation and get proper clarity and understanding before making judgment. Now there is a beautiful story about a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. In our family, between parents and children, husband and wife, brothers and sisters, and even with our friends, there will be always some fights and misunderstandings. Why? Because we have done the same mistake of judging. We make judgment without understanding. So once we give time and with a calm mind try to understand, we will get the clarity that it is not the other person's mistake. Many times we are at fault. So please be very careful before making judgment about anybody else. So once we are clear, then we know how to handle the situation and how to handle people, and we can maintain our relationships very nicely. Thank you very much.